Good morning, everyone. How are you? I love that new intro that's done by Erin Gibson. I'm Leslie Flowers, and that intro for my show, you can have one for your show too. It's so much fun. Thank you for being here, everyone. And I'm really, really excited today that we get to have Sandra Bothe back, because today is the second part of neuro-linguistic programming. And when I bring in a guest for you all to meet, the first time they come in, I'm going to tell you a lot more about them, right? And then today we'll go back over a few things, and I will share a little bit also about Sandra. I'm so excited that she's here. But as you come into the room, let me sing you in, as I usually do, and gives you a chance to get your coffee and get ready for the deeper dive into NLP. I'm so glad to see you all here this morning. Yay! You can sing along with me if you like. Oh, look who's here. I love it. Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. And rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what's been done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. We know it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep, and have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet song that calls the young sailors? The voice might be one in the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Da 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 dee da doo. Welcome, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this song. This song was picked for me when I was on Soul Man Live, and Erin picked out the song, and that was the perfect song. And look who's here. It's so fantastic. Okay, so today we have Sandra Bothe. I'm going to bring her up here in just a minute, and I want to acknowledge all of you and let you know what the purpose of this new view, if you will, into Mind Over Matter Mondays. This is all about finding the disciplines and the steps that different disciplines have that teach us to have agile thinking. That is not to be run over by our fears, reacting and worrying about everything, but better to pause a moment and choose which point of view we'd like to express. We have lots of views and lots of experience, but we never get a chance to speak it if we don't practice it, because our fears, which are reactive and not thinking, are always going to be first at bat. Whenever you get an idea that you don't know how to do or that you failed at, your fears are going to step right up and convince you it's a bad idea, and then you don't do it. And that's why so few people do things that they've never done before, that they had no clue in doing. And it's so exhilarating. That's the purpose now. So we have had interactive self-hypnosis. We've had power thinking with Stanley Green, and Elizabeth Borquez is here, and she did the the interactive self-hypnosis. Stanley came in for 1 week, and we're going to have him back for power thinking, which is more of a CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy approach. All the same thing, different slight perspectives to see which concept you like the best, that resonates with you the most. So before we go any further, allow me to bring up my guest, our guest today. Here comes Sandra. Hi, Sandra. How are you? You're on mute. Let's unmute you so you can say hello.
Yes. Hello, everyone. And hi, Leslie. I'm super excited. Starting the week in this way with mindset is super important.
Oh, thank you. I think so too. And, one of the things I'd like us to do, Sandra, today, after I acknowledge everyone, and I will do that, I'm so excited to see who's here, is that I just want you to know about Sandra, that she is the founder of Thriving Mindsets. Mindfest sounds pretty good, doesn't it? She's, I like that, a Mindfest. Hey, maybe that's a new buzzword. It's a new hashtag, Mindfest. Anyway, like Mind Geek. Anyhow, she is a certified master practitioner of Neuro-Linguistic programming, that's NLP, and a certified mental emotional release hypnotherapist, which if you see the acronym, it's MER. And what she's a second generation, or first generation, Latina corporate leader turned transformational coach. And so she wants to help, if I can get this thing to hold still here, corporate and empower corporate professionals and immigrant entrepreneurs to unmute their voice. And by the way, that's the name of her book. You'll see at the end. Own their worth and lead with unstoppable confidence. So I'm so glad you're here. Let me turn off the banner here. Very excited to have you here. We've got lots of good things to talk about, but I want you to meet everybody, and it's Sandra, and get to know them as I've gotten to know them. These are how these people show up, and they're showing up each week and as often as they can. Means a lot to me. It means that the message is resonating. And if you know me, I've spent years earning money, teaching all of this, people getting their results, etc. But I'm in a different place in my life now. I'm in the winter of my life, and now I'm giving it all away because I don't want to die with all the magic inside of me, right? So on Mondays and Fridays, I teach you everything I know to manifest a life of wealth, health, and happiness. And acknowledging each other for who they are for you. How do you show up is always better than we think it is ourselves. So let's start here with Elizabeth. Welcome, Elizabeth. She's in Rhode Island. She has the puppy Toulouse, which we believe has conscious awareness, one of the rare dogs that might have conscious awareness. And Elizabeth was a great guest. Thank you for being here, Elizabeth. It means a lot to me. It should be beautiful up there in Rhode Island today and yesterday. Tracy, hi, are you back? Thank you so much. Are you back from your tour to the Far East? Because I'm looking forward to your Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern business live show, which shows up in the carousel. So thank you for being here and reminding me about this. This is great. And there is Adrian. Adrian is a New Englander also. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you for being here for me. I always know you're there. And you want to get to know Sandra Andrea Sanchez. Wednesday mornings, 8:30 to 8:45. She does 15 minutes of kindness. And Andrea's out in Texas and been a friend for a number of years. Thank you, Andrea, for making time. I know that you work full time and you have children and you have a lot to do and it's 2 hours earlier. So I really appreciate that you have the time. All of us with kids, you have children, right? Or you have a son, right, Sandra? So you know how it is in the mornings.
I'm 11 years old. Yeah.
Oh, what's his name?
Zach.
He's 11. So, the mornings are very busy. So I know, and it means a lot to me that you made a way to be here. And here is my good friend, Christy Williams. Hi, Christy. Christy is someone who's always there for me. We're in the 2350 network together, which is a personal development platform that started here. And we do a lot of things together. We've got a big event coming up October 3rd and 4th, which everyone is invited to. Thank you, Christy. I see you. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. You know that. I can't tell you enough. And there's Linda Meyer. She is our chef. Do you know Linda?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Anytime you want to interrupt and say hello.
I'm super happy to see her here in this room. She's super supportive. She joined the rooms I was doing, the journey of professional immigrants. So thank you, Linda.
Yes, Linda's great. She's very consistent. Oh, yes. There's Joni Hargrave. She's a singer. The thing about Joni, she always is sweet and kind of demure. But what you don't know about her is she's a badass businesswoman. And she raises golden retrievers. I think I have that right. So she's really a smart businesswoman, but you would never get that unless she shares very vulnerably what she does. So it always means a lot to me to see you, Joni. Really, I love seeing you and I miss you. And here's Tim. Hey, Tim. So good to see you. Thank you for being here. We're going to go till 11 o'clock, and then we'll be complete. Let's just see what our friend Ashif has to say. Ashif is in Toronto. He's our modern day roomie. Do you know him, Sandra? Do you know Ashif?
I've seen his amazing post. Yeah, I love them.
Yes.
Every time I see them, I like them.
And he's always here and he's always sharing things. He's always sharing. So thank you, Ashif. You've never wavered since I met you. Yeah. I mean, this isn't the biggest group that we could have, but I will tell you that you being here, Ashif, means a lot to me, all of you, because you're my other family, right? Because my grandkids are grown pretty much. They're all hitting 20, 19, and 18. And I don't have to drive them around anymore. They drive me, right? So this family that you are for me, you'll notice that I rarely sell anything because I just want you to have the information. You can work with me. There are ways. They're just not frequent. Anyway, thanks for being here, Ashif. And there's Deb Haas. My goodness. Oh, excuse me. You love that song? Oh, I love that song too. Aaron picked it out for me. He barely knew me, but he said, I know the song for you. Some people get your soul right away. And I have always been faced, Sandra. I'm a Sagittarius, and I can tell you that I'm very straightforward. Now, as a woman in business, being straightforward is most often perceived as aggressive, right? Whereas if a man is straightforward, that's exactly what we want. Bullet points, to the point. Don't tell me the whole story. Just give me the facts. But when a woman does that, there's an unconscious bias about her, right? Wouldn't you say that's the case?
Yeah, it's exactly that unconscious bias. We just label, our brain does, and we just expect to see that in a woman, not in a, in a man. It's different. So unconscious bias.
Yes, yes. And so, they don't even know they're not paying attention to you. They don't even realize it. That's the trouble with an unconscious bias. Once a person sees it, they're usually pretty good about, right, changing, reframing it, which we'll talk a little bit about today. Change, the way they're expressing or thinking about it. But if you don't know it,
yeah, once we create that awareness, then we can, identify immediately when we're doing it. That's the beginning, awareness.
Yeah, that's what I'm really excited about this. Now, you want to meet Deb Haas. Gosh, I've missed her. Deb, I have missed you coming into these rooms. Deb and I have done similar work in landmark education. So we have kind of a secret terminology. And every so often I'll drop for her, Charles Caldwell, I'll drop one of those words and look at them because, there's certain terminologies with different, with NLP, I'm sure there is too. But Deb is, she does the most amazing posts on LinkedIn. Make sure you follow her. She's quite a writer, very funny. And I believe she spends a fair amount of her time in the theater. She's an actress and a singer and a dancer. So I'm so glad you're here. I don't know about the dancing, but actress and singer, I bet you are. So thanks for being here. And let's see, we have Lisa Fevick, and I know there are other comments. And Lisa is a registered dietitian. She's on hiatus this summer with her every other week eating properly for menopause. So what I didn't know was that there are over 100 symptoms of menopause, and menopause can last up to 30 years. There's pre and there's peri and there's during. But the great part about Lisa is all the foods that she suggests will diminish those things are good for us anyway. So I pay attention to her all the time. And I joke and say, I haven't hit menopause yet. Oh my God, I have, but it's gone now. Hi, Meryl. Truly hope you both enjoyed the first week of August. Greetings from northern New Jersey. So you're having beautiful weather, and I'm so glad you're here and you found value to come back. When you come back, it means that there's something here that you're willing to trade your time for, to invest, not trade, invest your time. You'll never get time back, never. It's consumable. So it's got to be based on value, right? And that's a lot of my work is determining what are your values? What do you value? Sometimes we go into live rooms just to listen, maybe not to learn. But for me, I stay here on LinkedIn while a lot of other people jump around to different platforms, particularly since the audio rooms went away. And I didn't do that because my time is so valuable. You will not jerk me out of LinkedIn unless it's 2350 Network or it's Business Catalyst, the Friendship Bench every week. So I have two things that I go offline for. Right. The rest is right here. So I really guard my time, and I want to be on platforms where I know people are thinking, that they have high emotional intelligence, higher than Facebook and all the other ones. Okay. So let's see who else is here. Beautiful. Thank you, Meryl, for being here. Rosie Speaks. Sharon Rose, very well versed in this work. Get to know her. She does beautiful posts every day. She does beautiful posts every day, and she's always so happy. So whenever I see her, sometimes we just need a happy smile, and Sharon Rose does that. Yeah, I think so. I think you're right, Andrea. That's a great idea. Look who's here, Felipe Cofino. Guess what? Felipe wrote his first book on his own. It was only 25 years in the making, but yay! It's going to be published, I think, this month. So you want to get to know Felipe. It's a children's book, but it's one that he started thinking about and writing 25 years ago. My errata book was 25 years in the making. Sometimes the ideas that we get back then, we're not ready to flesh out. We haven't learned enough. And so I suspect for Felipe and for myself, we did the basics and let it rest, kind of like a good sourdough starter, right? And then one day, maybe it's because he started writing in anthologies, whatever it was for me, whatever it was for him, for you, Felipe, had you complete, but you were ready to complete. And wasn't it the perfect timing? He wrote it for his daughter, and his daughter is engaged. And so he's publishing it. I mean, how absolutely cool is that? Felipe, so happy, happy, happy for you. And then you'll be a best-selling author, not co-author this time. All right, let me make sure here and see if I don't want to leave anybody out. Ooh, Ronald is here. Hi, Ronald. So glad that you're here. I'm not sure I've met you before. Thank you for stopping in and being here. You know this man? Okay, yeah, tell us about, introduce us to Ronald.
Actually, I just met him last week in the NIC event for the launch of the Silent Canvas 2. Yeah. So,
that's wonderful. Can we tell people that you're
let me to let him know about events? So thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Wonderful. That is phenomenal. Thank you for being here, Ronald. We hope you'll come back. And yes, thank you. Thank you. Listen, it's pretty selfish of me, this singing. I was in musical theater in high school, musical comedy and all that. I've been singing all my life. And I thought to myself, I can sing whenever I want to. So I do. And on Fridays, I go back 100 years and I pick out songs from 100 years ago because we do Think and Grow Rich, which was written 100 years ago. So I bring everybody back. And last week we did a visualization of 1924. And all of that is to exercise your intellectual faculty of imagination. These faculties grow in direct proportion to their use like any other muscle. So the more we visualize, right, Sandra? The more we visualize, the more we meditate, the more our imagination becomes more clear. We can five-sensorize, and the whole purpose of which is to get excited because it's that vibration that draws to you the things that you want. And here is 𝙭Scheidel. Hi, Lay. She's also has a wonderful program. She's on the West Coast, so thanks for being up early. Lay has, with her partner, a program called Integrate Art, and they've gotten into, in California, I believe it is, they've gotten into some of the public school systems, which is not always easy to do with all the red tape. And Integrate Art is teaching students and teachers using art in all the curriculum, not just in art class. Plus, she also is an expert videographer. She does products and just amazing. Get to know her. She isn't on LinkedIn as much as I'd like her to be. But anyway, she is. And there's Abimbola. Hi, long time. So good to see you, Abimbola. I've been on your show, and I believe we're almost done here. It's important that this time is spent so that when you walk out of here, you know who you are for me, who you are for people, how you show up in the world. Now, this man I have missed terribly. Sajid Kumar. He's in Canada. He's an HR executive and very kind, beautiful posts. So please get to know Sajid Kumar, and thank you for being here. I notice you haven't been here that much, so you're very busy, and it means a lot to me that you are here. I just want to make sure that I've got everybody. I don't want to miss anybody. Abimola was one of the first people that I connected with a couple of years ago on LinkedIn. So, okay, that's enough. That's enough. So I'm so glad that you're here, Sandra. Let's bring this back up. Okay, I just want to show you where we are. Now, the first thing we showed you last week was this. So this is a graphic overview. So tell us briefly what we're looking at here in general, looks like a 30,000-foot overview. So to set the context, tell us a little bit about how we absorb information based on your understanding, please.
Yeah, I do love this infographic because when I learned this, it was when everything changed for me. So our brain takes in over 2 million bits of information per second. Is not takes, but it is what is presented to us at every given second. We are surrounded by 2 million bits of information, according to scientists. But we can only consciously process a small portion of that 2 billions, and is 134,000 bytes information. So our mind filters everything through dilation, distortion, and generalization. So whatever is left is what becomes our internal reality, how we feel and how we think and act about what is presented. We don't respond to the world, we respond to a filtered version of it. And that's what NLP teaches.
Yes.
How we filter that information.
And is it fair to say that of all these ideas that we're having, very few get through? I think you mentioned that very few of them get through, and they have to be relevant to us. Correct. Right? They have to be, but even then, sometimes we misinterpret them. Isn't that the case? Even when the thoughts are coming in and the ideas, and they are relevant to what we're doing, aren't they sometimes skewed or misunderstood or not clear? Is that possible?
I wouldn't say misunderstood, because according to our own experiences, they are real and they're true for us.
Okay. And would you say they're skewed? That they don't always come in clearly, or what do you think?
It's just like we said in the word of NLP, nobody's wrong. You create your reality based on the experience that you have in your life. How you process the information in front of you is based on your background, your culture, your own personal experiences.
Excellent.
So, right.
No, I got that. I think that's what's blowing me away is how much information we're absorbed in, and can we really count on any of it? Because as we're in different states of conscious awareness or emotional intelligence as we're growing, certain ideas may not resonate with us or may not be relevant at one point, but years later, they may also be relevant. They may become relevant as we become more aware. But I think it fits, at least we don't have to absorb them all at once. We only absorb a small group of them. What's the percentage? How many do we actually bring in?
134,000 bits of information is what we can absorb. And even that, we filter based on, we delete, we distort, we generalize that information. That's how the brain process that, because it's impossible to take all that information.
Got it.
That's how it's designed our brain to work.
This is a better word, misinterpreted, right? But what really, your interpretation changes as you grow in awareness. So if you hear something today, and then you hear it again in a week, you may hear something you didn't hear today, because, right, out of confusion comes clarity. So when we hear it several times, things start to get clearer. Okay, so this is you. All right, let me make this a little different here. So the first thing we want to do today, I can get this working right. There we go. Is last week we went over these 5. We first went over what is neuro-linguistic programming. So I want you to tell us again what that is. And then last week we looked at, after we got to know Sandra and where she grew up and where she went to college and all about her. So you get to know who you're following and who you're connecting with, and who is this master, right, practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming. You got to know her and resonate with her. So these were the 4 different ones, and we went over reframing. And so, Sandra, take us into a quick review of what NLP is, and if you would like to remind us what these 4 different techniques are before we move on, please.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm happy to do that for those that didn't join us last week.
Thank you.
Short review. NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming, as Leslie repeated several times. And what it is how we use language of the mind to consistently achieve our specific desired outcomes. What it means with neuro is the part of neuro refers to how our mind operates, how it takes and processes information through our 5 senses. It's what we see, hear, feel, smell, and taste that shapes our experience. It's like how we input information, right, from the mind and our nervous system. Linguistic is the part that is the part of the language, words, tone, images, and body to give meaning, because we don't respond to reality, we respond to the meaning that we create in our mind.
Say that again. You say that again. That is powerful.
Yeah, what I was saying is we don't respond to reality, but we respond to the meaning that we create. The thoughts that we have in our mind about what we see make us act in certain ways. So we respond in certain ways based on that. And the part of programming is just the habits and mental behaviors that we run automatically. So, and that's the part that we can work with language. We can do different things. We can refrain. We can use visualizations. Many tools that we are going to talk about, some of them soon. And that's how we can reprogram those habits that we have. And many of them don't really serve us well.
So, and anybody who has any questions or needs clarifications, and we have a LinkedIn user, I'm not sure who that is. That's going to be either Jen Lynn or Damien. I don't know who it's going to be. There's a few people that show up for whatever reason. So when you talk about reframing, we looked at that last week. That is when you're thinking something negative, you can think something positive, right? For every negative, there is a positive, and that feeds into the universal law of polarity. Once you realize that you can do this, then you're not stuck in the old ways, but you have to practice it, right, Sandra?
Correct. Yeah. Reframing is just give a new meaning to an old experience that we have.
I love that. Giving a new experience, a new meaning to an old experience. I love that. Write that down for me. I love this. So yes, so this is all based on your point of view. And it's fair to say that if all of us in this room, including you and me and everybody that's in the audience, if we were all in one room sitting in a circle, and I held a huge prism up in the center of the circle, and I said, I want you to look at this room through the prism. So don't look at the room, but look through the prism into the room. The room doesn't change, but each individual sees it slightly different. And that is the reality we create for ourselves. Yes?
Correct.
I love it.
Yeah.
And part of what we're doing here is bringing in some of the commonalities and common denominators, which you can put in the chat that you're hearing, because we've talked about hypnosis, we've talked about CBT and power thinking. There's positive intelligence, there's heart math, there's landmark, there's a bunch of disciplines that are effective, including NLP, right? That will help you leverage and practice exercising and using this technique. And I teach about the law of polarity. So you don't have to be under the thumb of a negative fear, because there's always a positive, always, every time. You just have to be the one to look for it, right?
Correct. I wanted to share a little bit more about the reframing. We shared a bit last week, but reframing we can use to create fast and lasting change in beliefs and behaviors. When we help somebody to reframe a belief, for example, like the public speaking that we were talking last week, I'm not good at public speaking. That is not really, it's not true for you. But what is public speaking, right? Public speaking is not only when we see it through, oh, it's just to speak to a large group of people. Well, maybe that makes us really nervous, but public speaking really is, we're doing public speaking here, right? To anybody. So actually we disprove that I can talk to people. I actually have talked to people. So we start doing that thinking and start making that belief weak by reframing that I actually do speak to people. I communicate. So I
Yes.
can be good at public speaking and start making that belief weaker and weaker.
Yes. And that's what's happening, is it's being outweighed by a new belief, right? So every time you do this and acknowledge that you are public speaking, you're moving toward faith in your ability of deservability. And pretty soon it's just a whisper. Now it will never go away, but through practice, what I've experienced with my clients and myself is that it gets very quiet, and I get to then choose what I'm thinking. Right. And that is the whole purpose. Now, tell us about parts integration. What does that mean? Resolve internal conflict.
Part integration, yeah, that is very interesting. 1 second. So it's resolving a conflict between two parts, right? I love this practice because sometimes we feel like part of us wants to be an entrepreneur, right? But part of us want to stay in corporate America, right? So how we solve this conflict and why we're not able to make that decision. When we start working with this part integration, what happens is that we come to a point where the two conflict parts, they are both they all link to a same higher purpose, right? So that's how we integrate the parts, thinking why we start asking the person, why is the purpose of staying in corporate America, right? Why is the purpose? And when the client give you an answer, so you ask again, what's the purpose of that? What's the purpose of that? For every answer. The same thing with the other opposite part that we want to integrate. What is the purpose of being an entrepreneur? And we at the end realize that both parts, they're looking for a same high purpose, whatever your purpose is. So that's how we do integration part. And I do have a script. Think I did, but anyway, I don't know if we have time for that.
No, let's stick to because we have a lot of things we want to share with you. Absolutely. No, this is important. The internal conflict, it sounds to me like when you continually ask about the purpose, it's the why, and we become very clear on our values. It would seem to me that what I'm hearing is, through what you just shared, Sandra, it's a way for us to get clear on what's important to us and what we value by asking, what is the purpose? So like for corporate, is the purpose out of fear of poverty, like I'm working there because I need the money and I have to have the money? Or is it that wherever you are in service? And even when you're in corporate America, you can still be in service to others rather than focusing on the fear of not having the paycheck, right? So those are those two things. So if your purpose in working for corporate America is to improve the lives of the products that are made and also the lives of the people within the company, then that is very clear. And it is not worrying about the money. You're blessed to have a corporate job and you have the money, right? If you're an entrepreneur, you don't have a lot of money. This is where your why and your purpose has to be compelling and obsessive, because the fear of poverty, along with the fear of criticism, like, can I really do this? But yes, you can. But the fear of, well, where's my money going to come from? Right. I have to have money to do this. But what you will, when you talk to entrepreneurs, you don't need a dime. That was true at one time. That is what she's saying, that this is what that's how we label it. We have to have the money in order to start a business. But I'm here to tell you, as a master of goal achievement, you don't need one dime to start on your goal.
I love how you say that, Leslie. It's exactly what you explain even better. It's very linked to our values, right? The part integration, when we come clear and we make a decision, is very aligned with the values that we hold. If for us it's very important, money, and is the number one value, then we need that paycheck, and we cannot live without knowing if I'm going to make money or not this month. So we in NLP also work with the clients to review the values and align them with the purpose and what they really want. Sometimes that lack of alignment with your values is what creates the lack of the difficulty making your decisions.
Excellent. All right. So I'm going to remove this for right now because I want to ask you a question or two. So these are some things that have been on my mind. So I would like to know, and I believe it can, but tell us, or how is it that neuro-linguistic programming and understanding these techniques and applying them allows you to manage your internal emotional and mental or mindset? How does it help you manage your internal emotional or your mental state, Sandra?
Yeah, in NLP, with the tools that we learn how to change our state by changing what we focus on, how we speak to ourselves, and how we use our body. One simple example is, if we want to use our body to change our state, we can, have a different position in the body. Like when they say, when you want to look more powerful, there is this pose that they call the powerful, for women.
Yeah, the power stance.
When you don't want to feel intimidated, and you kind of feel intimidated by someone, so you can put your hands in your hips, and it immediately changes these feelings of feeling inferior, or this kind of state. So that's using your body, and is the easiest.
I love that. What else can you do? Okay, so I really love that. I'm trying to figure out how that works. So when you change your body, what's actually happening? Because we know that mind is a cellular activity. What we think, right, and how often we think it, and the way we feel when we think it affects our body. So now it looks like we're starting with the body, right, to
Correct.
affect our mindset. So what's actually happening? Or, I mean, can you answer that simply, or because that's not on our
Yeah,
list? Okay, what's happening?
yeah, it's called behavioral reposturing. So to feel bad, you actually have to put your body in a specific position. So NLP teaches how to change that posture to interrupt the negative state, right? So you cannot feel bad and smile, and you feel bad. It cannot be, right? So if you smile, you immediately your
Yes.
state change, because you cannot be smile and feeling bad. It's just not possible.
What's so interesting is everybody says it has to be from the inside out. But this is an example where you can be doing something like smiling or changing your position to actually cause activity within. I
Exactly.
love that. I love that. I didn't know that. This is fantastic. Let me just say hello real quickly. That was fabulous to Leanna. Hi, Leanna. Beautiful time in Minnesota right now. I'm so glad you're here. And look who's here. We have Kendra. Hi, Kendra. Thank you for coming in. And we're going to go till 11 o'clock. We want to go a little bit further now because I want to make sure we cover a couple of more questions. Now, any questions that you have in the audience? And let me just see here. Okay, let's see what Ashiv has to say here. The relationship between subconscious and conscious mind is one of interplay and influence. Yes, I love that. Okay, and this was funny. Oh, the caption said 5 fences instead of senses. Yeah, you got to watch that AI, right? Okay. I love it. That's hilarious. All right. Oh, look who's here. By the way, Sean, you are featured this week in the carousel. Every Monday or late Sunday night or early Monday morning, I put out a weekly carousel of LinkedIn Lives that I kind of love to keep myself in order, is how it all started. And his is on at noon today. Psychology, physiology. Oh, well, see, this is new to me. That's why you're here. So let me ask you another question. Okay. One of the things you told me was that you could create fast and lasting change in our beliefs and behaviors. So I'm very curious about that. How does neuro-linguistic programming allow us or afford us the opportunity to make lasting changes? Let me make sure I read that properly. In our beliefs and our behavior. Could you address that for us, please? Would you, my dear?
Yeah, very simple. Is beliefs are no facts, right? NLP helps to, like we talking about, reframe limiting beliefs and install new empowering ones quickly through techniques and modalities that we use. An example is if someone, again, is not is thinking, believing that they're not good at public speaking, we can change the internal image and structure, right? And replace it with something confidence, with a version of confidence that they have in their own experiences, and start speaking, with more ease. When we replace that image or thinking of a memory where you were actually speaking to somebody and you were feeling confident.
So that's visualization. So you're going back, which heart math touches on, going back into memory to resurrect a former experience. Because when you think of it again on the screen of your mind and you bring up the imagined visual image, your vibration rises or lowers to match what you're thinking about. And the whole purpose is to think consistently positive thoughts so that you have a consistent high vibration. And I think that is really okay. Yeah. So that's fantastic. Let me look and see if there's one other one here. Okay. So how would you say that you stay resourceful during stressful times? How does understanding the techniques of neuro-linguistic programming and practicing them help us during stressful times to stay calm?
Yeah, NLP help us to choose the response, well, how we respond. The response over a reaction is more like thinking, aware, being aware, and not reacting unconsciously, especially in chaotic situations. For example, or just in job interviews, right? Make people very, very stressed. So if you have a job interview that is a virtual one and your internet failed, instead of panicking, use a breathing technique and anchor that, right? Feeling more calm. And you immediately, if you don't panic, just breathe. Just the fact that you start breathing, focusing your breathing, it will allow you to manage the situation with more calm.
So this is another example. This is really new to me, explained this way. I've heard it different ways, but I'm almost ready to really understand this, right? I've been grappling with it. So this is another example of using your body to affect your mind.
Yeah.
Right. So that is so fascinating to me. Okay, we're getting close here to the end of our time. I want to make sure we get everything in here. I do want to ask you kind of a personal question, and then we're going to ask the audience one of the questions you asked me. Okay, so if right now you could have dinner, and you didn't know I was going to ask you this. So right now, if you could have dinner with anybody that ever lived or is living, sit down and have a dinner with them and have a conversation. Living, dead, doesn't matter. Who would you pick?
Wow. I will think about that. There is this poet, but I can't remember her name right now. I was thinking about her. She talks about belonging and maybe I have to change because I can't remember her name right now.
Who else? Who else? It's in your field, or maybe a political leader. Who would you like to sit down and have dinner with? Maybe it's a religious leader. Maybe they're passed on, because, through visualization, you can actually have that dinner and that conversation on the screen of your mind. So who would it be?
I think, and it comes to mind right now because we're talking about NLP, Tony Robbins will be the master of this, and I will really love to be in dinner with this person, and maybe ask him to hypnotize me on something that I want to break through. That would be amazing.
So maybe that's the challenge for this week for you, Sandra, is to invite him to connect with you. Maybe I'll get him on this show. Wouldn't that be fun? Tony Robbins. I love that. Oh, and Sharon Rose is okay. So we got an Oprah. Okay. I was actually on her show in the audience, made sure that I spoke a long, long time ago. Oh, here's another one. Maya Angelou would be
Maya Angelou.
Yeah. Is that who we would? Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Wow, you read my mind. Yeah, that is exactly the first one. Thank you.
Well, great minds. Okay, so from Sandra, she asked me this question, so I'm going to ask you all this question. I want you we want you to not forget this. So tell us briefly, what is a limiting belief? So then we're going to ask you, if you could rewrite or recreate that limiting belief into something else, which would it be? So what is a limiting belief? How does neuro-linguistic programming explain limiting beliefs?
Limiting belief is just the story that you tell yourself about something that happens. Is the reality that you have made in your own mind about that story. Is your personal take on that story, how you storage that in your mind. And one of the second question is which one I will, I'm working on one. I'm still working on one limiting belief, and I have a conflict because I don't know if procrastination is, I'm still doing research, is something that that to break through. I've been working a lot for a long time in this one, and it got better, but it's still it's a challenge. It's procrastination, but at the same time, I'm an ADHD person, right? So I'm trying to use the tools of NLP to help me break through procrastination, but I'm
Excellent.
also combining my learning about my disorder with ADHD so that I can combine both and break through these challenges of procrastination. I don't think is the fear, because we know as procrastination is fear, right? To failure. It's many limiting beliefs that we have. But since I have overcome those, I still have the challenges to procrastinate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and procrastination is the opposite of decision. And we did this last week in Think and Grow Rich. It's the worst habit that everybody has. That's the number one habit, procrastination. And it's all because we haven't got a clear purpose. Back to your questions,
Mhm.
what is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of that? If you're a person who runs late all the time, right? Where is the value for that? And what can we do to make sure that the things that we value are the things that we're completing? But really, it becomes very simple for everybody. The reason you procrastinate is because you don't really know what you want. There's no pinpoint, like, I want this exactly. That way, if somebody brings something to you and it conflicts with what you're working on, you have to say no. And that is how you teach yourself. But we'll talk about that another time. Now, for all of you out there that are with us, what is your limiting belief? What one belief would you create the opposite of? So for procrastination, you would focus on what is it, the purpose of what you're doing, which is exactly what you said earlier. I love it. The answer is within you. So you only do one thing at a time, and you're very clear as to why, and you're compelled. It's not a nice to have. It's important to you. You value it. So
Correct.
that, don't give up things you value. Actually, that's the law of sacrifice. You're not supposed to give up things of great value to replace them with lesser value. You want to give up things that have less value to make room for greater value. All right, let's go to you, our darling Sandra. So she is a #1 international bestseller. This is her first solo book, A Voice Silenced by Doubt, Dared to Rise. Go find that book. And I want to thank you so much for being here. And actually, I would love to have you come back another time. Not
It
next
goes
week.
fast.
Well, we have 7 steps. Let me just look and see what that one is. That we didn't have a chance to do. The 7 steps to rewire your brain. But we don't want them to see that yet, because that's another whole hour on its own. So get her Amazon bestseller and see how you can support Sandra, and find out how she was able to break through and unmute herself and to come into corporate America. If you remember from last week, she spent 18 years in corporate America. So thank you, Sandra, so much for being here. And thank you all for being here today. We are both grateful for your being here. Please connect with Sandra and know how much I appreciate your being here. And my intention is that we would have lots of comments, and I see there. Yes, we'll do that. I want to bring her back because there's so much in those 7 steps to rewire your brain. I think will be very helpful, depending on where you are in your journey. So thank you for that recommendation. Oh, I'm so glad. Look at that. A nightly swim, walks with my dogs. All right. So Sandra, thank you so much for being here. I know you're excited. Sandra's husband, I think I can say this, just launched his 2nd psychological thriller, The Silent Canvas. Very different writing than Sandra. But what's it like with 2 authors in the same household?
It's fascinating because what he writes, actually, you think it may not relate, but it is all about the human mind, right? About overcoming trauma. And that's how he used these experiences and trauma to develop these stories that he writes. So it does have to, this is related.
In a way, it is related.
Conversations when he's writing.
I hear you. Okay, so Sandra, I'm going to move you into the studio. A million thank yous for being here. I know how busy you are. I'm so glad. Everybody connect. And with that, I will say goodbye to all of you with our outro. We'll play this again, and I will see you again next Monday and hopefully this Friday at 10 a.m. when we're looking at persistence in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. And with that, I wish you all a beautiful week in August.